I'm an African. I don't apologize for it. As Africans, before we drink water or before we drink our alcohol or before we drink anything, first things first, we pour some of the stuff to the ground. Why do we do that? Because we say we are watering the ground, but also we are communicating with those that have gone ahead of us. So important is this tradition of pouring things out to the ground first, because by so doing, we are actually acknowledging that before we partake, those that came before us must partake. I cannot miss this concept because this is the very essence of tithing itself, very essence of offerings, that you must be willing, that you offer and you give away before you can have it to yourself. It's critical and it's important, therefore, that we as Africans understand that these rituals are not just being performed as mundane and repetitious activities of pouring waters to the ground. But the African child is aware that before I take, God must take. Before I eat, the adults must eat first. This is why many times after we've bought ourselves cars in towns or we've got ourselves houses or anything, before we use them and before we begin to enjoy the blessings and the benefits of these cars, we take them home so that our parents can see them. Why? Because we are acknowledging that first things belong to the Lord. By the time you come to the Bible itself, you can't miss the idea that God Himself says, all the firstborns belong to me. All the first fruits belong to me. So before you can begin to enjoy and participate the rest of the fruits and the results that you can enjoy, there is an understanding that deity or God Himself, Yahweh, occupies the first place of consumption, the first place of gifts. So all the gifts before they are given to you, the first one of them all, you return it back to its original owner. This is the concept of seeds again, that you are fully aware that as you are participating either in a drink or something, you are acknowledging that there is a blessing and you are returning back to those that gave you initially. In terms of a life outlook, therefore, whether you make money, whether you make a good deal and you end up with some certain substances in your hand, before you start enjoying the benefits and the fruits of what you've harvested, it's always important to remember that you pour water to the ground, or as it were, you collect the first fruits, you collect the first items that you are given. You return the first fruits. In a normal harvesting environment, the fruits or the plants or the crops that are harvested first, right at the beginning, those that get ripe first, the seeds are usually stronger. Those are the seeds that are good for planting for the next season. So we harvest the first fruits and we return them back to the owners. Before we drink, they must drink. Before we eat, they must eat. Therefore, the first substance that we always remember to give back to where it came from, you must never forget that as an African child, that all the first things that you receive must be attached and be given back to your fathers, to your mothers. Go back after you've enjoyed the blessings. They've taken you through school. You have done lots of accomplishments. Now that you're beginning to enjoy the blessing, please always remember to harvest the first part of what you'll have enjoyed. Take it back to them. Let them appreciate it and let them have a blessing out of it. Many Africans are struggling, as it were, with what they might want to call witchcraft and etc. I will be clear with you. The worst form of witchcraft is when your parents are not happy with what you're doing. It is important, therefore, that you take your first fruits, you take the first sip, which could be belonging to you, and you take that sip, you take that water, as it were, you take that blessing, You take that money, you take that one good thing and return it back to your parents, return it back to your ground. Always go back to the ground from where you came from. It is very critical that you always attach your future to your roots as to where did it all begin. Therefore, take it back to the ground, pour it on the ground, get attached. It's almost like you're throwing it away, but no, you're watering even the future itself. You're putting the seeds aside so that you can have a good harvest. Therefore, in an African home, when you see us drinking our water, you might want to wonder and worry, say, why are they pouring the first drink to the ground? They are acknowledging that before we were here, other people were here. And as a result, before we can enjoy the blessings, they must also begin by enjoying the same blessings. We pour water to the ground as Africans because we are acknowledging we are not alone. We are here because they were here. For that reason, I'm an African. I believe truly that making my parents happy is one of the best ways of clearing my path for the future. So find your roots and you'd find your blessings. Run away from your parents, run away from your backgrounds. You might be running into a chain of bad luck for your life. So make them happy. Pour the water on the ground. Drink with the past so that you can enjoy the future. I am an African, and for that reason, I don't apologize. My past and my future are connected in me.
Mm-hmm.